Opinions disclaimer. Viewers, discretion is advised. Introduction. Death. That solitary figure silhouetted against the fading light of every human life. What secrets might it divulge if we could compel it to speak? This is the timeless question that has haunted poets, prophets, and philosophers across the ages as they peered into mortality's shadowy abyss. Have you ever pondered what becomes of our consciousness after we draw our final breath? The question of consciousness, its continuation or cessation after death, and the profound mysteries that shroud our final destination have intrigued humanity since time immemorial. This exploration takes us on a journey through time, cultures, and philosophies, seeking to unravel the tapestry of beliefs, theories, and narratives that have attempted to decode the ultimate enigma of existence. From the ancient underworlds to the musings of great minds like Socrates, Galileo, Shakespeare, Dickinson, and Whitman, we delve into the heart of what it means to confront our mortality, discuss the once taboo, and perhaps find peace with the impermanence that defines our being. As diverse cultures and brilliant minds have observed, contemplated, and imagined over millennia, many intriguing perspectives on death's mysteries have emerged. By examining some of these beliefs surrounding the great beyond, perhaps we edge closer to readiness whenever death darkens our own door. End of introduction. Consciousness, the last frontier.
Consciousness, often defined as the state of being aware of and able to think about one's own existence, remains one of the greatest mysteries of science and philosophy. The debate over whether consciousness ceases or continues after death pits scientific inquiry against spiritual and philosophical speculation. Modern neuroscience struggles to pinpoint consciousness in the living, making the post-mortem state even more enigmatic.
Awareness after death between science and belief.
The concept of awareness after death challenges our understanding of consciousness. Some near-death experiences suggest a form of continued awareness, yet science has yet to provide definitive evidence of consciousness beyond life. This area, ripe with anecdotal accounts and research, bridges the gap between empirical study and the human yearning for continuity beyond physical demise.
Oblivion versus Afterlife, a duality explored.
The debate between oblivion, a complete cessation of consciousness, and the existence of an afterlife has been a central theme in human thought. Diverse cultures and religions offer varied perspectives on what, if anything, lies beyond death, ranging from the ancient Egyptians' elaborate afterlife mythology to modern secular views on non-existence.
Philosophical and historical insights.
From the Stoic acceptance of Socrates to the poetic reflections of Emily Dickinson and Walt Whitman, history is rich with insights into death. These perspectives offer solace, provoke thought, and inspire a deeper understanding of life's transient nature.
Analyzing afterlife research.
Scientific and analytic approaches to the afterlife, including studies on near-death experiences and consciousness research, offer intriguing glimpses into what might lie beyond, challenging our preconceptions and opening new avenues of inquiry.
Ancient beliefs and rituals.
The ancient Egyptians' elaborate rituals and the Mayas' death rites reflect a profound understanding of death's significance. These practices, rich in symbolism and belief, underscore humanity's enduring quest to honor the dead and decipher the afterlife.
The ancient Egyptian view of the afterlife.
According to the intricate ancient Egyptian religion recorded in hieroglyphic writings and lavishly decorated tombs, life after death was not only assured, but much anticipated. Egyptians believed that human souls continued their existence in a supernatural realm presided over by Osiris, the god of death and resurrection. There, in the lush, placid field of reeds or field of offerings that mirrored one's earthly life, souls could thrive indefinitely, provided their descendants continued leaving offerings to sustain them. Judgment occurred in the hall of Ma'at, where one's pure heart was weighed against the white feather of truth. If deemed impure, the soul was condemned, transformed into an unfortunate creature and banished. Thus, ancient Egyptians made elaborate preparations for death, mummifying bodies, surrounding the departed with provisions, and dedicating tomb adornments to assist their enjoyment of eternal paradise and judgment, according to moral deeds during life.
The Maya underworlds called Xibalba.
Mayan spirituality as depicted in the sacred Popol Vuh manuscript describes harrowing otherworldly realms awaiting souls after death known as Xibalba, translated ominously as the place of fear. Located deep underground, this gloomy, gruesome domain was presided over by sinister death gods and inhabited by beasts who inflicted creative torments on human souls. To reach final rest, souls had to traverse treacherous waters, pass vicious animal guardians, brave razor-sharp blades, icy cold fire and blood in a series of symbolic trials. Failure condemned a soul to lurk, tormented in Xibalba's shadowy abyss for eternity. Only conquering these tests led to paradise through apotheosis, into the upper world as an honored ancestor or sun deity. Thus, the Maya viewed mortal existence as transient, with death transitioning souls to perilous underworlds preceding rebirth.
Socrates' beliefs on death as a blessing.
The Greek philosopher Socrates, condemned for corrupting Athenian youth by questioning assumptions, articulated serene and reasoned convictions about the afterlife, even as he accepted the death penalty. Socrates suggested no one truly knows what transpires after dying. Yet he postulated since virtuous souls seek truth and gain wisdom in life regardless of hardship, a just afterlife, God would likely reward goodness. Thus, he meets death calmly certain that either oblivion or eternal blessings awaited. By grasping life's brevity, death urged making the most of mortal hours wisely and morally. Therefore, he welcomed death if his lifelong trial of questioning and self-improvement justified even greater quests beyond earthly existence. For Socrates, death represented either the start of even more glorious adventures or peaceful, undisturbed rest. Hence, he refuted fear by interpreting mortality as motivation for living more nobly.
Galileo on death.
According to Galileo Galilei, the Nobel Prize-winning physicist, astronomer, and philosopher, in a letter written near his death,
Quote, "To set aside all vain delights and fears concerning future events, let us recollect that the present life is extremely short, and at its end there awaits us either an eternity of joy or an eternity of sorrow." Unquote.
he goes on to argue that human comprehension cannot begin to fathom the ungraspable notion of never-ending eternity after death. Therefore, it seems foolish to fixate on what form eternity may take, instead of focusing efforts on living virtuously. For Galileo, the great mystery boils down to a choice between eternal bliss or eternal misery, to be determined based on one's earthly thoughts and deeds.
Shakespeare on death.
The venerable English playwright William Shakespeare probed the enigma of dying most poignantly in his tragedy Hamlet. He writes,
Quote, "To die to sleep perchance to dream. Aye, there's the rub, for in this sleep of death what dreams may come." Unquote.
Here Shakespeare wrestles eloquently with uncertainties about the final sleep of death. What transpires after our last breath? Does awareness linger? Do immortal souls continue dreaming beyond where mortal eyes can trace? The passage suggests he remained inconclusively caught between possibilities of life persisting or fading forever into oblivion. Like Hamlet, perhaps Shakespeare felt equal dread for what might or might not follow death.
Emily Dickinson on death.
The reclusive poet Emily Dickinson composed over 500 poems examining intimations of immortality among other weighty themes. She writes on death,
Quote, "Because I could not stop for death, he kindly stopped for me. The carriage held just ourselves and immortality." Unquote.
Dickinson personifies death as a courteous gentleman caller, escorting her on an eternal journey beyond earth. She implies awareness endures after dying, since they keep eternity itself company. Though the specific nature of any afterlife goes undescribed, she hints consciousness and perception stretch into infinity by imagining herself continuing an intimate tête-à-tête with death.
Walt Whitman on death.
The celebrated poet Walt Whitman took inspiration wandering Civil War battlefields where piles of youthful corpses confronted him with mortality. He wrote the moving elegy for the war dead.
Quote, "All goes onward and outward, nothing collapses, and to die is different from what anyone supposed and luckier." Unquote.
Despite witnessing horrific bloody ends, Whitman retains faith. Death leads not to total darkness, but continuation beyond human imagining, or supposing. He suggests the act of dying provides enlightening answers about extinction versus enduring existence. And surprisingly, he feels certain nobody perishing guesses correctly what follows, making the process a luckier revelation for souls departing human perception. Whitman himself professes no proof but leaves room for life flowing onward by defiance of collapse.
Seeking truth about death.
Humanity's quest to understand death and what follows is as old as civilization itself. This search for truth encompasses not only religious and philosophical inquiries, but also the latest in scientific research, aiming to shed light on the most opaque of subjects.
Dying with dignity, perspectives on the end.
The concept of dying with dignity brings to light the importance of autonomy, respect, and peace in the concluding chapter of life. It underscores the need for a death that reflects the values and wishes of the individual, sparking discussions on ethical care, euthanasia, and the rights of the terminally ill.
Preparing for a good death.
Preparing for death, once a widespread practice, has become a lost art in many societies. A good death involves not just the absence of pain, but the presence of psychological and emotional closure. This includes making peace with oneself, finding closure with others, and imparting last words and wishes.
Unveiling death's mysteries.
Discussing death openly challenges societal taboos and invites a healthier relationship with our mortality. By embracing death as a natural part of life, we can alleviate fear and foster a culture that respects the journey's end as much as its beginning.
In conclusion, Death. The skeletal grinner that patiently waits as each hourglass empties its sand. However, we may imagine the great beyond. Simply engaging with the question stretches our minds and offers fascinating glimpses into the universality of human creativity. Perhaps all that remains is determining for ourselves what combination of faith, reason, and imagination to employ whenever death darkens the threshold. Only time and mortality may tell. In exploring the labyrinth of consciousness, death, and what may follow, we find not only a reflection of humanity's deepest fears and hopes, but also a mirror to our essence. The journey through ancient beliefs, philosophical musings, and the quest for scientific understanding illuminates the paths we have trodden in search of meaning. As we ponder the ceaseless cycle of life and death, we are reminded that in seeking to comprehend our end, we learn to value the preciousness of our existence. The enigma of death, much like the mystery of life, invites us to explore, question, and ultimately find peace in the unknown. For in the heart of what we cannot fathom lies the key to understanding the depth of our own consciousness and the boundless nature of our spirit. Thank you for joining us today on this thoughtful exploration of what history's greatest minds have contributed to the timeless discussion around death's unfathomable mysteries. We covered such intriguing perspectives as the ancient Egyptians' vivid visions of the afterlife journey, bone-chilling Maya underworld trials for departed souls, Galileo's practical view of eternity's incomprehensible stakes, Shakespeare's uncertainties about whether awareness endures beyond our last breath. Emily Dickinson's fanciful personification of death as a suitor, ushering us into immortality. And Walt Whitman's reflections on the transformative revelation that dying is luckier than mortals can suppose. While such musings can never definitively unveil death's secrets on this side of the grave, engaging such profound ideas elevates and expands our consciousness, compassion, and appreciation for these fleeting, precious hours we have. I encourage you to further ponder how integrating philosophical wisdom across cultures and history better equips each of us to live more purposefully and ethically with our finite time. Meditating on mortality without flinching bolsters a readiness whenever death darkens our own door. The richest understandings reside inside stillness. Please share any questions, insights, or authors you'd like considered for inclusion as we continue this metaphorical dance with death through humanity's diverse lyrical, poetic, and immortal lines of questioning. Only by staring straight into the skull's empty eyes, sockets with courage and imagination, can we distill meaning from its laugh and liberate our own minds in the process. I so value your insights on this most universal theme binding us together across every mortal border and lifespan. Until next time we reconvene around this eternal fire fed by infinite human experiences past and still to come.